That's me done. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
I'm Stuart. I'm Dan's oldest friend, and he's been bestowed the honour on me today by Dan to be the best man. And I've got to be honest with you, I've been a bit nervous about this speech, so I prepared a few lines earlier. Now they've kicked in, I feel great. So I'm sure you're probably expecting me to tear shreds out of this fella with awkward stories and anecdotes of the past. I don't think it's fair to embarrass him too much, to be fair. So I'm not going to include anything that's too controversial or awkward. In fact, I'm really going to concentrate on his loving nature and his decency. So thanks very much and good night.
Just get in there.
No. I hope this is going to go. I hope it's going to go okay. In all fairness,
I hope so and all.
Unlike many best man speeches that are full of like sexual innuendo and coarseness and crudity, I promised Dan and Jane that if there's anything even slightly risky or risque, I'm going to whip it out straight away. So before we get to the traditional basis of the best man speech, I want to echo, the sentiments and acknowledge the beautiful bridesmaids and the job they've done today in supporting Jane fantastically well and helping prepare, and also the flower girls have done a brilliant job. So again, we can give a round of applause. I'd like to acknowledge that. So let's get on with it. So when I was trying to get ideas for the speech, I asked people to describe Dan. Give me a few words. Witty, passionate, charismatic, generous. Nobody used any of those words. He was, however, described as arrogant, conceited, insensitive, and selfish. To be fair, I thought that was a bit harsh. But if anyone knows him, it's his mum. Being the best man is a bit like...
No.
No. It's a bit like doing jury service. You have to dress up, act responsible. The only difference is I had absolutely no say in the life sentence that was passed today. Now, I've been looking into what happened on the day that Dan was born, 14th of October 1973. And to be fair, nothing really of note happened on a global scale. But still to this day, the nurses at the hospital call it Monkey Boy Sunday. So, I'd like to take you on a trip back to 1985, trip back in time. There was music such as a-ha's Take On Me, Madonna's Like a Virgin, and Live Aid. You can forget that, hit the screens. But and also film-wise, there was what was there? Actually, I forgot. Breakfast Club, Goonies, Back to the Future. However, one event eclipsed all others. The day that Dan and I met. Strap yourselves in. Over 30 years ago. Still can't believe it. And I can't believe the transformation. Seriously, he used to be a really nice bloke. No, seriously, joking aside, there's nothing I wouldn't do for Dan. And I know there's nothing he wouldn't do for me. In fact, we spent our whole lives doing nothing for each other. So 1985, we started secondary school together. And I'm not sure what drew me to him, in all fairness. I don't know if it was the My Little Pony rucksack or the blue National Health glasses. But the great thing is that his appearance earned him the tag of the school weirdo. And it was a title I no longer had to carry alone. He became the Morecambe or Wise of Lyndon School. It's not that we went for windy walks or anything, or even slept together or anything like that. There's nothing dodgy going on. Slightly dodgy. But we'll get to that later. Well, we nearly slept together, which sort of takes me to the first story I'm going to tell you. Yeah, boy, I recognise. So it was probably some time after watching our favourite film, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. We used to treat ourselves occasionally when the weather was good to the odd afternoon off school. Yeah, you're going to learn a few things today. And we were around my mum and dad's house actually, and we were sort of partaking in one of our activities that we used to get involved with, something like phoning the operator, shouting for profanities and then slamming the phone down, something equally as mature like that. When there was we had the key in the door. You know where it's going there. My mum had come home early, and it was late afternoon, so lunchtime had by far finished. Panic ensued. What should we do? What should we do? Oh, you're not going to answer me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we could we make out that we came home for lunch? We lost track of time and sort of, rushed back to school, faced the bollocking later. Or should we perhaps fabricate a story? Something had happened at school, we had to get home, we were all sent home. Or should we just come clean, we were truanting, and apologise profusely and deal with it later? Well, what do you think we did? Well, it was none of those. We did the sensible thing. I licked my brow, wiped my head, jumped in my mum and dad's bed, he jumped under the bed, pulled the quilt up over my school uniform, and waited for my mum to come in. Mum, I'm ill. She's come upstairs. She's sat on the bed. What's the matter with you? She's touching my brow, feeling my temperature. All I can hear is Dopey underneath the bed, chuckling, muffling his chuckles under his arm. Biscuits were coming up. Lucasade was coming up the lot. He's still under the bed hiding. Finally got through it. My mum's gone back to work. We've jumped up. Checked the coast is clear. Back on the phone to the operator. Job done. Another day, we were walking back to my mum and dad's house, lunchtime again. We saw my brother's car outside the house. Walked in the house, checking all the rooms. Checked the coast is clear. My brother's not there. Dawned on us. He's obviously gone to work on the bus. Actually, his car was out of MOT. There was only two words that went through our head when we looked at each other. Spare key. We were probably the only 14-year-olds at the time driving past the school, waving to the schoolgirls, honking the horn. It's all coming out now, isn't it? Still to this day, there's only 4 people who know about that. Well, there was only 4 people. Dan, myself, and the 2 window cleaners that pushed us back to the house when we broke down because we left the joke out. That was our Starsky Nuts stage. I could tell you loads more stories of the stupidity and things that we got up to. But whilst on the theme of cars, I must share this one with you. Our impersonating police officer stage. The format was simple. All we needed was 2 fluorescent coats, jackets, probably with Galliford's written on the back. One flashing sight light that stuck to the roof of the car that sticks, and 1 Austin Montego. Fortunately, all of which Dan's dad had. In the boot of his car, the Montego. Don't panic, this time we had licences when we were 17 years of age and Dan drove. We cruised around Birmingham, waiting for speeding motorists to pass us by wearing our fluorescent jackets. When some idiot went past us at ridiculous speeds, to be fair, we go in hot pursuit. We never used the flashing light, as it was yellow, and according to Dan, Mike wouldn't have been too happy if we'd have actually glossed it blue, so we didn't bother. When we caught up with the offender, Dan would flash them several times to pull them over, and then it was over to me. My job was to flick them the V's, then we go off after the next one. We didn't waste our days. And Mike, incidentally, that's why your car when it was parked up was a magnet for dog shit, by the way. One last story. It involved an air gun. Dan used to own a rather well-powered air gun, which he cherished to the point he never let it out of his sight. I know that, so he used to bring it to school. It was brilliant. We go back to my house, probably more often than not at lunchtime again. Sometimes we do a late night shift as well. But more often than not, we'd be there at lunchtime. We shoot out the window at the chimneys right the way over the back of my mum and dad's houses, straight at the chimneys in another street. I must point out, although the gun had a decent kick to it, it weren't that powerful, and it used to actually dip off and hit the kitchen window of this house. A point that the stay-at-home housewife was well aware of, because she also had a quick neck where she was going every time she was washing up. Fast forward a week or so, there was a knock at the door. It was dinner time. We were upstairs, probably plotting some other ridiculous escapade, which I'll tell you later. It was dinner time and my parents were at home. I was called downstairs. I was met halfway down the stairs to my mum, my dad and two strangers at the door looking up at me as I was halfway down the stairs. "Stuart, have you got a gun?" "No, Dad." My mum's face lit up. She knew I wouldn't be involved in those sort of shenanigans, you know. Anyone who knows me. "Dan," he pops round the banister. It was a bit like that. "Have you got a gun?" "Yes." Poor guy. I could have killed him. He was grounded for 2 weeks. He took flowers around as well and everything. Do you remember that? Like you would, you bought them. I told my parents that Dan held me at gunpoint till a bit of week come out and I got away. I didn't want to get involved with any of it. 2 weeks, Dan free. Bliss. He wasn't, of course, because I didn't have my best mate and my partner in crime. And that last story really sums Dan up. Honesty and integrity and his values he's always had. And anyone who knows him will agree. He's got loads of great values as a person and certainly as a friend. Although anybody who's got a set of ears on him will tell you that he thinks he's the world's greatest lorry driver. But judging by the fact he's got so many kids, I can tell you now he's no good at reversing out with a full load. Speaking of lorry drivers, the stag do was a good crack. It was funny. A few of his workmates there. I met his boss too, Rob. Good lad. The common belief is that working with Dan is like working with God. He's rarely seen, he's holier than thou, and if he does any work, it's a bloody miracle. No, seriously though, Jane couldn't have met a more charming, witty, responsible, good-looking and fertile man as you see at this table today. I'll therefore ask the question, what the fuck did she marry Dan for? Please, Dan, enjoy today, seriously. It's the last time you'll ever be centre of attention. So on to Jane. Strap yourselves in, it's going to get leery. Don't even know the need for notes for this. I remember the first time I ever met Jane. There's two things that I noticed about her straight away. She had massive confidence. That's true. Huge personality. And a cracking pair of tits. Now, some of you may know that Jane and I, we enjoy teasing each other, you know. But today's not about that, and not from me anyway. Jane's a great friend of mine. I love her and I value her friendship, as I do them both. There's nothing more admirable than watching two people come together in the unity of marriage. And as your friends and family, you'll all agree we delight in your day and offer our support. And here's a toast to a life of loved and cherished moments. And I want everybody to join me in raising the glasses to Dan and Jane. Cheers.